I got it to threshold. And it is showing you here on this muscle cell or nerve cell, it is showing you the entry of positive ions. Now, from what you've learned so far, what ion would this be? Sodium. Exactly. Okay? Second part then. How would the sodium be coming into the cell? All you know, through a sodium channel. All you know at this point is that we have these sodium channels, right? Sodium can come into the cell. Why would sodium come into the cell? Because it's more concentrated outside the cell, right? So all I need to do is open up this channel for sodium to come in. But as it turns out, all these passive sodium channels are open all the time. So the question then is, what's making this sodium come into the cell to make the cell actually become positive? And the answer is the second group of channels. And we call them voltage gated. Yes. So I have done something to this cell to cause it to reach minus 55. It has reached its threshold value. And in response to that change in voltage, a group of protein channels will open that were not open before. These are the voltage-gated sodium channels. They open, the voltage-gated sodium channels, and sodium comes rushing into the cell. Now, if I'm measuring the charge in here, my charge started here at minus 70. And if I'm measuring the charge, I've got my electrode stuck in there. Where's this line going? This way, right? Okay, so this is what that looks like. Wait. I took that picture out. Why would you do that? So stupid. Okay, so I'm going to have to draw it. You going to turn that camera? The cell is minus 70. It is at rest. You can explain to me why it's minus 70. Now something has happened to make the cell become more positive. And it has reached its threshold value of minus 55. Something has caused the cell to change in voltage by 15 millivolts. At this point, the voltage-gated channels will open in mass, and sodium will flood the cell. The voltage-gated channels cause sodium to come flooding into the cell so that the charge will pass 0 and normally will reach all the way up to about 30 millivolts. This happens over the course of milliseconds. Very, very fast. And in just a moment following that, in the millisecond or two to follow the entry of the sodium, a second group of ion channels open, and they are the voltage-gated potassium channels. Now, which way will potassium go through its channels? Out. And what will this do to the charge? It'll make it more negative. And so the potassium voltage-gated channels open, and the cell will then return to rest. This part of the action potential is called, in your textbook, depolarization. And this part of the action potential is called repolarization. To polarize means to make it charged. So I'm depolarizing it with the entry of sodium and repolarizing it with the exit of potassium. This is potassium. Out. This is sodium. In. This is the action potential. Now, as this picture shows you over here, this happens wherever the stimulus is, right here. The question is now for us, y'all, we are talking about the fundamental nature of everything that happens in us. Your brain and your muscles, this is what's happening. So I have a signal right here, the entry of sodium and the exit of potassium, and a millisecond reversal in the charges from normality. How would you expect the cell to get the ions back in their normal condition? How are you going to get the sodium and potassium back where they're supposed to be? The pumps are going to do this, exactly. Okay? The next question then is, how does a signal like that happens right here on the membrane mean anything to this guy down here? You know, you got to spread the signal, right? If my brain's going to tell a muscle to contract, the brain starts the signal up here, and it's got to send that signal to the muscle. So Wednesday, I'm going to tell you how that happens. How do you propagate the action potential?